In today's video, I'm laying out 15 fragrances that when you wear these, you are gonna get compliments. Now I'm counting down from number 15 to number 1. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna disagree with my picks, so let me know down in the comments, especially if I missed one of your favorites. Coming in at number 15, we've got Cool Water by Davidoff. Cool Water's been around since 1988, a relatively inexpensive fragrance. This is the go-to fragrance for many men. Why? Because it simply works. I was reading some of the compliments. One of the guys is like, I wear this to work. I get compliments all the time, a lot more than my more expensive fragrances. He also mentioned incredibly hot where he lives. He was talking like 45 degrees Celsius and saying, you know what? At that temperature, no other fragrance works like Davidoff. So with all these great things going for it, why isn't it ranked higher? Because it's so common. So I'm reading about a guy, he's on a Tinder date, and all of a sudden his Tinder date smells that fragrance and she starts to cry. Why? It reminds her of her ex. And she simply goes up, wants to hug him and just simply remember him, and then she leaves on the date. So guys, hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but understand, hey, this is gonna be a very common fragrance, it's a very safe fragrance, and it's a solid one for getting compliments. Next up, we've got Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. So when you ask women to describe this, casually elegant, sexy, romantic. This fragrance has been around for 25 years and for good reason. It simply works and you're gonna get compliments all day. Now in the top notes, we're gonna see bergamot, orange, and lemon. In the middle notes, we're gonna see lavender, sage, cardamom, and pepper. And for the base notes, we're gonna see sandalwood, cedar, musk, tonka bean, iris tobacco, and coumarin. Not as common as Cool Water, this is gonna be a great workhorse fragrance that you can wear pretty much for any occasion and be guaranteed to get compliments. Next up, we've got Dior Fahrenheit. The top notes are lavender, mandarin, hawthorn, nutmeg, cedar, bergamot, and lemon. The heart notes, nutmeg, honeysuckle, carnation, sandalwood, violet leaf, and jasmine. And the base notes, we've got leather, tonka bean, amber, patchouli, musk, and vetiver. So I'm reading this review. The guy received Fahrenheit as a gift from his wife on their date night. He wore it. The next day he wears it again. He goes out very casual clothing on a Saturday, and he's at the grocery store. A woman walks behind him, stops, turns around and asks him, what are you wearing? I absolutely love it. I need to get this for my husband. So guys, if you want to be stopped, if you want people asking you, what are you wearing, and complimenting you on it, you want to try out Fahrenheit. Next up, we've got Leather by Commodity. So I'm checking out the reviews of this fragrance, and what I find is they're very mixed. The issue, it seems, is the name. It shouldn't be called leather. It should be called something that's much more complex. In fact, I was reading this review that a woman wrote, and she felt it should be called aged leather, maybe natural leather. That's what it really is. It's an old whiskey barrel being reused to age wine. It's a hearkening back to the days when things were well made, built to last a lifetime. I absolutely love this fragrance. And gents, that's what's really interesting about fragrance. You've got to experience it to really understand what it is and what that name means. Because I can tell you the top note, the heart note, the base note, but if you haven't tried the fragrance, it's just not the same. So how do you try out a fragrance? How do you test a fragrance without having to commit to a full bottle? The answer, gentlemen, is Scentbird. They're the sponsor of today's video, and I've talked about them for years because I love what Scentbird does. Scentbird makes it incredibly easy for you to get genuine samples of quality fragrances delivered right to your door at an affordable price. So here's how it works. First, you go over to their website. They've got over 450 fragrances that you can choose from. Next, you get your sample delivered right to your door. And what I love about this is you get a good size sample. This is enough for 140 sprays. We're talking a solid month that you get to try this fragrance out. Step 3, you adjust. Maybe you want more fragrances. Maybe you want less. Maybe you want to cancel. Maybe you want to buy a full bottle. Free shipping, 100% authentic fragrances, $14.95 a month to get started smelling great and getting those compliments. And if you want to try something new, you want to wear something that's going to get you compliments, you need to try their new line, Confessions of a Rebel. And how do I know these Scentbird fragrances are going to get you compliments? Because they reverse engineered what works. And gents, a good portion of the fragrances I'm talking about in today's video, you can find and test over at Scentbird. I'm linking to them down in the description. With the best deal you're going to find out there, use it or lose it, guys. It's not going to be around forever. An amazing deal. Use that link. Go try Scentbird. And with that being said, gents, let's go to the next fragrance on the list, Versace Eros. So I have to thank Scentbird because they did introduce me to this fragrance. I didn't really know much about it, and I have to say I absolutely love, personally, Versace Eros. Now the top notes here are lemon and bergamot. Heart notes are tonka bean and geranium. The base notes are musk, ambroxan, and sandalwood. When people talk about this fragrance, they describe love, and that makes sense. Eros, the god of love. And I really think that they did a great job capturing this in a bottle. And if you don't believe me, guys, just go out there and do a search. People are doing video reviews of this fragrance in particular, how many compliments it gets. And a lot of guys are surprised how powerful of a compliment getter this fragrance is. Next up, 1 Million by Paco Rabanne. The top notes here are mint and blood mandarin, heart notes, rose, cinnamon, and spice. The base notes, leather, whitewood, amber, Indonesian patchouli. Now, some people are going to diss this fragrance because they say, you know what, it doesn't have much staying power. But I've read the opposite in other people's reviews. So I really think it depends on your body chemistry here. In fact, I was reading about this guy who was in his 50s. He's saying, you know, I'm happily married. I wear this fragrance for myself. It just motivates me. It makes me feel great. But whenever I wear this out, it just makes me smile to realize I still got it. Women are turning their heads and they love the way I smell. So if you want a fragrance that screams sexy businessman, 1 Million is your go-to fragrance. Next up, we've got Room 1015's Electric Wood. So the top notes here are ambroxan and cedar. Heart notes are oak and resin. The base notes, iris and nutmeg. Now, I don't think a lot of people have heard of this fragrance, but when I saw it, whenever I tried it, I really liked it. And this is why, because the story behind it. This one apparently was about a room that was destroyed a lot by rock bands. So when I smell this, I'm like, man, I can see this. Just some guys having a raging party after a big concert. And that must have been a lot of fun. So I think that this fragrance is going to get you compliments because it makes you incredibly confident and it's unique. Next up, we've got Malin and Goetz Dark Rum. Top notes, we've got bergamot and plum. Heart notes, leather and rum. Base notes, amber and patchouli. So there's something about the smell of rum that just attracts women. Maybe it's the laid back, maybe it's the pirate feel. I don't know. When I think about rum, I go back to Pensacola, Florida. When I was stationed there in the Marine Corps for the Naval Air Station, man, it was just so much fun going out and partying there and having some great times. And that's what this fragrance takes me back and reminds me of. Listening to Jimmy Buffett, having a great time, and just really being there with my friends and yeah, looking around for a little bit of fun. Next up, we've got John Varvantos Vintage. The top notes here, wormwood, basil, rhubarb, quince, fennel, and pepper. Heart notes, juniper, berries, lavender, and cinnamon, along with jasmine, orris root, and green leaves. The base notes, tonka bean, tobacco, suede, patchouli, oak moss, and balsam fir. So John Varvantos is known for the whole rock and roll vibe, but this fragrance is more about old school Europe. If you can imagine, smelling this fragrance is like going to Italy and getting lost on a back street and wandering into an amazing Italian restaurant, having a great meal, and just meeting this incredibly beautiful woman. That's what this fragrance is all about. And when you wear a fragrance like that, you just are transported. You're more romantic. You're wanting to have some fun. You're wanting to have a great time. And I think it's that type of mood that these fragrances put you in is what leads to the compliments. Now let's jump over to Acqua pour Homme. The top notes here are seawater and bergamot. Heart notes, geranium, sage, and rosemary. The base notes, patchouli and incense. Now, when I smell this fragrance, I imagine being out on a boat in the Mediterranean and just seeing the sea in front of me and just thinking and just having my head clear. This is an amazing fragrance. Now, I know it's relatively common, but this fragrance right here has power. I mean, this one will last a good amount of time. So I think it's a great one that every man should have. And it does stand out from the crowd at the same time. Very familiar, just a clean, clear scent. Next up, we've got Amouage Jubilation XXV. So this one could have easily been higher or lower, but it is a polarizing fragrance. This is one that a lot of people do not like. They feel it's way too complex. It's way too unique in that respect. Other people absolutely love it. Now, if you're getting into fragrances and you got 10 to 15 fragrances already, this is one that you should probably add to your collection because everyone I read that talks about when they get this, it just blows their mind with how complex it is and how unique of a fragrance it really is. So if you want a fragrance that's going to stand out from the crowd and get you compliments, try Jubilation XXV from Amouage. Next up, we've got Bleu De Chanel. So some people out there are going to bash this fragrance. They're going to do a review on it. They're going to say, you know what? It's a good fragrance, but there's nothing really unique, nothing that really stands out. But I think that is this fragrance's secret power. It is a base workhorse fragrance. Now, it's not going to be the highest rated one because it doesn't really stand out, but it is always going to be, that's a great fragrance. Bleu de Chanel, the versatile compliment magnet that is the universal people pleaser that really you can't go wrong with. Now, in this next spot, I almost had YSL's La Nuit. Instead, I decided to go with Salvatore Ferragamo F Black. Now, I actually read and saw some videos where they were doing some pretty good comparisons. I agree, they're very different fragrances, but they are similar enough that if you're looking for something that's got a strong lavender, Ferragamo Black is where you want to go. This is a great fragrance to wear and still stand out, but get those compliments all day. So coming in at number 2, we've got Creed Aventus. Personally, I love this fragrance. Yes, it's expensive, but this is one of those fragrances that you put on, you stand out from the crowd, and you're going to get compliments all day. In fact, this fragrance right here, personally, I got more compliments, 3 in a single day traveling through the Atlanta airport. I get meeting with my Uber driver. She gave me a compliment. But yeah, 2 people in the airport said, "You smell great. What are you wearing?" And I knew that this fragrance was powerful. It was something that I had borrowed some from a friend. I eventually got my own bottle, and I can tell you that Creed Aventus is going to get compliments all day. It's expensive. But if you've got the money and if you like this fragrance, it is well worth it. Coming in at number 1, no surprise for a lot of you guys, Dior Sauvage. The top notes, we've got pepper and bergamot. The heart notes, geranium, lavender, pepper, pink pepper, vetiver, and patchouli. The base notes, cedar, labdanum, and ambroxan. This is the go-to fragrance for so many men. And that's when I went out there and I looked at the data. I looked at all the surveys. Guys, again and again, we're placing this one up really high. It's relatively easy to get. It is a common fragrance, but it's not so common. I think its price point kind of puts it out of some guys' reach. But this fragrance right here, if you wear this, you're pretty much guaranteed to get compliments. You know, I've got to look at all the data. And so for that reason, I put this one as number 1. So what video to watch next? How about how to actually apply fragrance? So many guys make mistakes when they're applying fragrances. In this video, I show you exactly how to apply fragrance. So guys, go watch this video. Stop making those mistakes.